Do you have a wig that's a tangled mess? Cause if you do, this tutorial here will help you get those knots out of your wig and make it look nice and shiny again. For this tutorial, you're going to have to leave your wig at least overnight. So if you need your wig for a cosplay today, then what you can do is follow the first few steps of this tutorial and then skip washing it and just use a detangling spray so that you can at least have it in a usable condition. So the first step is actually very simple, but it's very tedious too. You are going to go through your wig section by section and comb out all of the major knots. You don't want to use a fine tooth comb, you want to use one that's got wide teeth, because that way you won't end up pulling on the fibers too much. Because if you pull too much on wig fibers, they'll end up stretching out and becoming damaged, and that's a lot harder to fix than just getting knots out. So use a wide tooth comb and go section by section on your wig. It's really tedious and it's going to take a long time, but it is ultimately the only way to do that, to get knots out of a wig, is to comb them out. If you're finding that any of the knots are really being quite stubborn, then you can use hair shears. Just cut out those big knots. You're not going to notice it in the end. It's going to look fine. So don't worry, as long as you're not cutting out like all of the knots, it will still look fine. So don't be afraid to use scissors every once in a while if you have some stubborn knots. Continue to go through section by section until you have combed through the entirety of your wig. And then what we're going to do is turn your wig inside out and do it all over again. Because usually the most knotted part of the wig is going to actually be the nape of the neck. And it's a little bit hard to reach that part when it is right side out. So after you've gotten the major knots out of the top side of the wig, turn it inside out and do it again and go section by section underneath. Some wigs are going to have frizzy sections in them. These are fibers that have actually become damaged due to the knotting. If you have a heat-resistant wig, you can actually use a hair straightener on low settings to repair these sections. So because cosplay wigs are generally plastic wigs, what the hair straightener does is it melts the frizz on the hair fibers, so that it will repair them as it straightens it. And you can see that now that I used the hair straightener, the wig fibers look a lot smoother. Now this will, of course, if you have a wavy wig, this will of course also straighten the wig, so you'll have to go back and recurl it, but I will show you how to do that in this tutorial anyway. Once you have finished combing through all of the sections of your wig, go ahead and give it one last comb through and make sure that it is as unknotted as you can make it at the moment to get ready for the next step. Now it's time to wash the wig. So what we're going to do is fill a little tub thing with wig shampoo and fabric softener. This is going to help rejuvenate the wig, bring that bounce back into it. You can skip this step if you don't have time, like if you need to wear the wig tonight, because you are going to need to let the wig dry overnight. So place your wig in the basin and then soak it for 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be super long, but you want to make sure that it's soaked through so that you can get the maximum benefit from the fabric softener. Once it's finished, you're going to take the wig out, kind of wring it out, make sure that you rinse it off so it doesn't have any soapy suds left on it, and then you are going to hang it up. You want to let it dry a little bit, but then while it's still damp, not like soaking wet, but damp, you are going to want to comb through it again with your wide tooth comb. This will keep any new knots from forming while it is finishing drying. After you comb through it, you want to use a detangling spray. I recommend this detangling spray that's used for horses. It's called mane and tail. It's, I guess, known in the cosplay community as being good for wigs. Generously spray the wig with this, like use a lot of it. Don't worry that you're putting too much on, it's fine. But generously spray your wig with this. And then after you've sprayed it, what we're going to do is, again, use your comb, and that will help to distribute this detangling spray throughout the entire wig. Now, this detangling spray is twofold. It can help to get rid of any knots that might still be remaining, but more importantly, it will help to prevent new knots from forming. It helps to kind of coat the wig fibers and keep them from tangling up with each other again. It will help them slide past each other more easily. If you have a wavy wig, then the washing process, and if you had to flat iron any of it, that's going to end up making it straighter than it was before. So you're going to want to re-curl the wig. Now you can, if it's a heat resistant wig, you can just use heat after it dries and use a curler to re-curl the wig. But I find it easier to just let it curl as it dries. So put curlers on it while it's still damp. And then as it dries, the waviness will naturally fall into place. So go section by section and add foam curlers onto the wig so that when it dries, it will wave again. There are different sizes of foam curlers available. I used medium-sized ones here, but if you want larger waves or bigger waves, then you will use bigger foamers, and if you want tighter waves or tighter curls, you'll use smaller foam rollers. And once the wig has completely dried, usually you'll have to leave it overnight, or at least probably 8 hours or so. Then you can take the curlers out and then comb the wig, and voila, you are left with a beautiful untangled wig that is ready for your next costume. If you want written steps for this tutorial and some more details on some of the steps, you can check out my website at cosplayadvice.com. I'll leave a link for you to this post in the description below. I will also include links to the products that I used, including the detangling spray, so that you can easily get that if you need it.